Hey, good evening, everybody. Guido, you're not supposed to be there. I was supposed to introduce you, but I've already messed up, so it's fine.
Yeah, no problem.
You stay where you are. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the OM System YouTube channel. We have a fabulous guest tonight, as you can see, already pre-introduced. This is Guido van der Water, who has been an OM System Ambassador for 4 years, and you're going to look at some incredible images. Guido's going to talk about hints and tips, but firstly, let me know in the comments where you're from. We don't know who's watching unless you say hello. So please say hello, because it's always nice afterwards, especially as well, to go back through the comments and see who's been watching. We also ask you to put some questions up. You know, if you have any questions, I shall put a little ticker tape there. Got a question? Add it to the comments, and we will go through and stop as we do and go along. Lots of things from our side. The 50 to 200 lens, first orders have been shipped, so I know some of you are out there enjoying them. And you know, please tag us in all your pictures. Hashtag OMSYSTEM.Cameras.com, and make sure that you are, you know, as I said, tagging us, using them for all different various uses, but sort of let us know what you're thinking of the new lens. If you are still to pre-order, there's lots of time, but obviously it will be the next shipment now. And also there are still first look events going on all over the US and Europe, including the UK. So please get yourself down to the nearest one so you can have a look at it for yourself. Maybe your friend has got one and you're very jealous. But let's not waste any time. As I said, please put lots of comments coming in all over. We've got Sikander says, just received my 50 to 200. There you go. He's very excited about one. And Cheryl says, I'm planning on buying the 50 to 200 next month. Woohoo! It's a great lens. You certainly will be enjoying it. Before we head on, have you had a quick chance to use the 50 to 200 yourself yet, Guido?
Yeah, I've not a short time. I've had it for quite some time, actually. So I've been using it quite a lot recently. So I'm very pleased with it. But I've had one to test out, and I immediately thought to myself, this is something different, something that we didn't have yet. And I immediately purchased one for myself. So I was really fortunate to get it just a few days before it was released.
It's very exciting, isn't it? Very exciting. We've got lots of hellos, and I love it.
Yeah, people from all over the world. So
yeah, it is amazing. We have Spain, we have the US, which is why we try to go out at this time of day, because even though for us it's later in the evening, it does mean that we can get the US audience to join us live. And, you know, it's great to sort of hear what's going on out there and to share, you know, to share the sort of love. And we have some regulars that dial in from the US and from other parts of the world at this time of day. So we sort of think it's about the right time. So, okay. Enough of my chat. We will talk about some other things as we go along. But firstly, let's get Guido on. So Guido, wonderful to meet you. I'm really looking forward to actually seeing you in November. We are heading up to the Kendal Mountain Festival, which is in the UK in the Lake District. So I'm hoping we may get some opportunity to send you out for a couple of hours doing some photography, and it's going to be really good fun. But we wanted to get you on, and we wanted to share the love, because I know some people follow you, but some people may not. You know, we have a lot of ambassadors. So I thought, let's get you on, let's get some images, and let's get people to meet you on that English channel, you know, as far as the sort of English speaking channel goes. So I'm going to get one of your first images up. Let's go straight in.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. It's not every day that I'm on YouTube, so yeah. But yeah, for the people that don't know me yet, I am Ambassador Guido van der Water from the Netherlands. So I have a YouTube channel for myself. So if you're ever interested in how I capture the images that you're going to see, just subscribe to my YouTube channel, because you can see all how I caught them on location. Just like this picture that you're looking at right now is, I think, one of the most magical trips that I've done over the past 3.5 years. So totally didn't expect anything from that morning, but there was just this slight little fog that you can see. And this water that you're seeing actually isn't a pool. It was a header area that is flooded by rain due to the heavy rain that we had during the winter. So if you go back now, you can never catch this reflection. So it was just a specific moment in time that I was on the right place at the right time. And that happens a lot of times when you do landscapes. So
I mean, this is beautiful. Are you standing in the water or are you on the side? I mean,
I'm just standing on the side of the water, but in this case, I wouldn't have mind to get some wet shoes if I had to walk in a little bit. But usually when you walk in, you get a little bit of ripples in the water. So I was really lucky that I could find this composition. That I could just stand a little outside of the water. So I think I caught this with the 8-25. So it's a real a maximum wide angle that we have almost. But it's almost I'm never too satisfied with my own pictures, but this is one that comes really close. So yeah.
And this is with the OM1 Mark II?
Yeah, this is the OM1 Mark II and the 8-25, I think.
And I mean, I would love to be a better landscape photographer. I think most people who follow me on Instagram, I definitely got better the last couple of years because I think it's something you have to like immerse yourself in, right? So what sort of settings would this be? I mean, anything special, any filters, anything like that?
Well, I'm not someone that uses filters much. So I think it's fair to say that I'm not the most straightforward landscape photographer out there. So I have quite a different approach to most of them. So I hear a lot of people doing a lot of planning and preparing in front. I never do that. I just go out and I see what I come across. And usually I will always find something that is interesting. So in this case also, I've only been to that reserve just once. And I was just lucky to get there in this location with that flooded area. Any other time of the year, I could never have got this image. And that's what I like. Sometimes you just can't plan it. But I also don't like to use filters. Rarely, sometimes polarizer, especially in autumn with the colors. And if I got some movement in images, I use an ND filter or the live ND filter. But I rarely use a G&D filter. So usually if I need a G&D filter, I would always take a bracket of multiple shots and then combine them together in post-processing. Or take a high-res shot. Sometimes that works also.
Wonderful. I love it. Absolutely beautiful. Right, we've got a lot of images to see, so we're going to jump in. If anybody has got any questions about the image, please pop them in. I am keeping my eye very closely on there, and when we've done about 4 or 5, then we will go through some questions. But interestingly, the 825 is definitely having a bit of love there. What Mogan says, it's my 825 that sits on my camera most of the time. I love the 825. Let's have a look at this.
Fantastic lens, and people always ask me if I would recommend the 7-14 or the 8-25, but I think the 8-25 is much more flexible if you have to choose. And for a landscape photographer, the f4 really doesn't matter at all because most of the images are shot at f8 or f6.4 or something like that. So rarely at f2.8. So the 8-25 is an excellent lens for landscape photography.
Yeah, I love it. When we announced it, I absolutely loved it. You don't have to worry about the extra weight and the cap, and the 7-14 is absolutely sharp and it's beautiful. But the 825 is that little bit more sort of smaller. It's a little bit cheaper in price, and it's actually a winner. It's an absolute winner. I use it for all of my Stockholm lens trips. So, okay, let's get on to this image, Guido. What is this? Tell us about it.
Well, this is a lot of people think that this is a drone shot, actually, but I captured this in Denmark. My wife is partly Danish, so we travel to Denmark a lot of time. And this is shot from, I don't know, the Himmelbjerget. That's about the highest point of Denmark. So there's a little bit of a tower on the top of a hill. And when I drove over there, the predictions for the weather were quite okay, that there would be some indications for fog. So there was a high humidity, and temperature was cold. There was no wind, and I was thinking, well, just after sunrise there might be some fog appearing. And that's the nice thing about these YouTube videos, that you see me come up there into that tower, and there was no fog around anywhere. So I was at first I thought, wow, this is not going to work, and I was already thinking about a plan B. And then once the sun came up, and a lot of times that happens, that the temperature starts rising above the water, and then all that water starts to vaporize, and you get this lovely layer of fog going through all these valleys. So during the time that I recorded this video, you can see all the fog increasing, and then the light coming over it. And this is just if I'm at a location like that, I usually just stay in one point and then just see, okay, what can I capture? And this tower, that was really nice. You can look in every direction. So I've got all kinds of different light, side light, light coming from the back, and this was one. I think the sun was just here on the left top corner, and if you leave the sky out, you can create these beautiful golden atmospheric colors. And what I liked about this image, to me, it was not that straightforward shot, because normally you see the farmlands, then you see trees, and then you see the clouds, and this felt a bit like an upside down image. So that's what I think that's why this image is the one that I like most from that whole session. You know, I think I got 100 different versions of this view, but to me that upside down thing, that it wasn't the regular sort of image, was really what caught my attention.
I love it. Absolutely love it. And we have a few questions coming in, but we're going to just do a couple of more images, get you guys warmed up, get the images, and you can start going, wow, love this image. How did you get this image? Blah, blah, blah.
I just noticed someone in the comments that it was a nice idea to say that my YouTube channel is in English. So
yes,
if you think he's from the Netherlands, everything I do is in English. So wherever you are in the world, you can follow along.
Very important. It's very important, and we'll get to that in a sec. So let's talk about this image. I mean, I love this image. I mean, it's really incredible because it sort of almost looks like it's taken in the 40s or the 50s. It's got that lovely old feel to it, and maybe that's because of the outside pools or the areas, you know, like a lot of those outside pools in the UK closed down. We still have some, of course, but this just looks stunning. Whereabouts in the world was this taken?
Well, this is actually taken on the exact same morning as the last image. So I took that image from the tower, and at one point the sun is up too high, and the light isn't that good anymore. So I wanted to drive back to my family back then. And driving back down from the mountain, I drove into that foggy valley that I came through. And the day before, I had noticed these boardwalks there, and I thought, oh, that would be a real nice minimalistic image if I can only catch that boardwalk with only fog around it. So I walked over there, and at that point it was all fog, and I just positioned the camera, looked for a couple of compositions, and then I found this composition, and the fog started lifting, and the light came through. And just at that second that I wanted to push the shutter, I could see someone grab that railing at the end that he was climbing out, and I didn't even notice those people swimming in there. And so they climbed out, and I was thinking, oh, this is nice. So I pushed the shutter, and then I just zoomed in to see if it was sharp, and I just noticed, oh, they have no clothing on. Can I? So I was like, oh, can I do this? And so I was really surprised. Am I going to ask these people if I can use this picture? And in the end, I thought they're not looking towards me, so I just used it. But it was just a magical moment that everything came together at that specific moment, and it was really lucky. It was one of the craziest mornings ever.
I think you will be okay with GDPR, right? I think you'll be absolutely fine. It's just an incredible shot. The reflection, the light. You know, if you were to take those two people away, the shot is very. I mean, the people make the shot, you know, and
it gets a bit boring, I think.
Right, and, I mean, you know, and we would have been out there taking shots, trying to get something, you know, even if the people weren't there, you know. But the fact that I just love this shot, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And so again, can you tell me your settings? Give people a chance to understand shutter speeds and apertures that you're sort of using for this type of light.
I actually won the 3rd prize in the National Geographic photo contest with this image. They've got a couple of divisions, and I've sent it in for the culture division. So I looked at culture. I have nothing cultural in my portfolio. And then I came across this image. I was like, okay, swimming in Denmark, that's culture. So I just sent it in, and it ended up 3rd. So that was really nice. But
or you could send it. You could send it to the Denmark Tourist Board to sell to them.
But I think most of these images like this are usually all taken at like f6.4 or f8. And in this case, I think I raised the ISO a little bit higher, but I actually have to have a look what I did. I can do it in the meantime. But usually because those people are moving, I want a bit of a higher shutter speed than I would normally do. Because I rather have a bit of noise in my image than a image that isn't in focus. Because I can reduce the noise, but I can't fix a shot that's out of focus. But this is 1/320th of a second at f8, so there was no need to raise the ISO, so it was perfectly fine.
Perfect. Wonderful. People always like to sort of have that. I mean, it's difficult to always remember the info, but you generally with that aperture, you stay around the 6.3 f8 mark. Is that about your sort of ballpark?
Now, usually when I go to the f8 and I focus about 1/3 into the image with a Micro Four Thirds camera, almost everything in the image is in focus. So there's usually no need to go higher. Except for if you're looking for a specific scene, like if you want to get a longer shutter speed, or how do I say that? No, a long exposure. That's the right word. Then you can of course do that by raising the aperture. Right. But I see a question here in the comments. Someone asks if I ever run into a problem with resolution when I print my images. Not at all. So I recently sold a couple of images to an architect here that's redeveloping the hospital here in my city, and they actually printed one of my images on a wall of 6 by 3 meters. So that's extremely large. But what I always say to people, when you go and watch an enormous big painting from a painter from centuries ago, we never stand a meter in front of it. You always take your distance. So the larger you print, the further you go away. So in the end, it really doesn't matter. And recently I said to someone, I did a photo talk somewhere, and I asked what resolution my camera was with a lot of images. And a lot of images I shown were taken with the Olympus E3, which I believe is a 10 megapixel camera. And he said, "Oh, I didn't expect that." And I said, "Well, in the 90s, we also had billboards next to the road. So all these big pictures are also taken with smaller sensors. So no, I never have a problem with sensor size anyhow."
Well, I mean, let's go over that subject. You probably can't see me. If anyone follows me, my Instagram is CHM_Insta. And as you scroll down on my feed, you will see me holding, you can't see it very well there, a print that is printed on off of an OM1 Mark One with a 60mm macro lens, and that image is at least AO. So have a look. You can take a look at the images now. So I'm going to go through a couple of questions. We've got a great question from Robert. Now, you do have a big YouTube channel. You're building that channel. You put YouTube channel up about twice a week. You're on there. Robert's asking, how much time does it take you to get into editing and all the YouTube stuff?
Well, I don't really know what he means, but if to get over here, it's about 3.5 years, I think, or 4 years that I'm making YouTube videos now. But usually making a video, it really depends on the material. You know, sometimes it takes me about an hour or 2 hours to stick together the video material. But what I notice is when it's a fantastic trip like the one where I took this image, it's much easier to make a video then you're enthusiastic and you're you know exactly I want to show this. But sometimes you got these trips where all the material is like, you know, it's not the best material, and then my motivation gets a bit lower to process it. But that's the negative thing about this YouTube channel, that you have this constant
It's a
you need
full-time
this
job.
constant flow of material. So
It's
I
like
can't
a
think.
baby. It's like a baby
Yeah,
that needs constant feeding, right?
yeah. So
You
I
need to
can't stay at
feed
home.
the
I have to go out on the days that are a bit boring also to get my images. But in the end, that sparks that creativity because I force myself to go out there. I can find these images that I normally wouldn't even go out for, and I think that's the fun thing about photography, just to find those random things on days that you're thinking, wow, how did I capture this today? So I think there's one in here later on that you're going to show. That's exactly one of those days.
Well, Jill says, hey, I love your YouTube channel. You got lots of love. You got lots of love from Marco Di Mario. Hey, Guido, great to see you on this live. Your photos are stunning and your book Out of the Darkness is an absolute masterpiece. We'll talk about that in a little while. A warm hello to the host. Thank you very much. But lovely. You got lots of love coming in, lots of questions, lots of people saying, yay. We have a really good one. I'm going to throw this one up because this is more of a technical question.
Yeah.
Walter says, I am new to photography, but he struggles both with clouds and sunsets. I'm assuming exposure wise. What's your sort? What would be your first tip? I mean, obviously we can't spend hours going through it, but what would be your initial sort of help out answers there?
Well, if you there are a couple of ways, of course. If you're photographing towards the sun, you have to use a filter if you want to get a nice picture, or the G&D filter, live or a normal one, or make a bracket of multiple exposures. So get your images a little bit darker every shot, and make sure once you start one of those brackets, just put your hand in front of the lens first, then take a black image, and then start taking your 5 or 6 or 7 images that you need that are going to be a bit darker every time, and then do another time your hand in front. Why your hand in front of the image, or in front of the camera? If you're going to stitch the images together in post-processing, it's very difficult to see which image belongs to which set of brackets. And if you got a black image or your hand in between, then you know exactly, okay, this is the group, this is the group. Yeah, so the first thing that I always do is when I open up Lightroom, I first thing I do is stitch all those brackets together, and then I start processing them. But without a bracket or a G&D filter, it's very hard to photograph straight towards the sun. Another tip to make it easier is to just keep the horizon out of your image. If you go back one shot to the first one, that the one before this one, if I would have raised the camera just a little bit, that horizon comes into the image, you lose all this atmosphere in the foreground because the sky is really bright and the foreground gets really dark. So one of the tricks that I often use is position myself a little bit higher so I can photograph down a little bit, or find, for example, a large tree line in the back and just wait until the sun gets over it, and every tree in front of that tree line gets an interesting subject. So if you want to get the wide angle shot, then you need a filter or a bracket, or else just get a zoom lens. That's a really powerful.
We'll talk about that in a minute, because obviously we know that we talk about this a lot, that you don't always need a wide angle lens to take landscape, and we have a couple of examples as we move in. But zooming in on subjects in the field when you think this is going to be a wide shot can be miraculous. But let's carry on. We're going to, because we've only looked at 3 images. Now, this is really beautiful. Again, I assume this is early morning.
This is, I think this is like 4:30, maybe 5 a.m. in the morning, in the middle of summer. And I just love to visit those little lakes that are hidden in a forest area. Yeah. And usually there's no wind. And if you have, I remember that in the week before this, it was like 30 to 35 degrees Celsius. And this night, I noticed that the temperature was dropping to 14 degrees. And I just know that if you're out there in the morning, then this water has cooled down during the night. And once the sun is starting to rise, you can see all that fog coming up. And this is the kind of fog that I really like, because when you get a real foggy day that you can't see the sky, then usually get all these white images. But in this case, this kind of fog only stays above the water. So once that light starts hitting through that fog, you get this almost fire-like colors. And I was actually photographing a little tree that's just outside of the frame on the left. when those two dogs just came out on the right side. And I always use this theory that I'm thinking, okay, what's the best possible shot that I can only take at this moment? And I immediately thought, okay, those two dogs, that can create something really unique. And I immediately switched to that. So I think I already had the 100 to 400 lens on back then. So this is shot with the 100 to 400 f5 to 6.3, if I'm not mistaken. So a magical moment.
Yeah, it's so lovely when you get those moments, isn't it? And it's very simplistic, but the color and the atmosphere are just absolutely beautiful. If you have any love for these images, please tell us that you love them. And also, if you like and love our YouTube channel, make sure you like and love and subscribe. Let's jump on to the next one. Okay. Now, this is landscape, but it's not indoors, really. This is a little different to the nature style, which I love.
Yeah, this is a funny thing, because I was in Tuscany in spring, and there was this little town there that is totally unknown, and I just thought to myself, I'm going to walk out there at night without a tripod or anything, and I'm just going to try and see if I can capture some nighttime images. And I only took handheld high-res images during that evening. And just at one point, I just walked past this door, and I could see that car standing in there, and I just immediately knew, this is the shot of the day. And there was a terrace just on the right side, full with drunk Italian guys making a lot of noise. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to walk back here. And so everyone was looking at me, and I was like, oh, okay, no, I have to take this image. So. And I turned it black and white because it's all lit up by street lights. So you get this orange yellow light street lights, and I think that really reduced the I don't know the right word, the focus on that red car. So that's why I took every color out except for the red car. And it's like a little bit hiding in the dark or something. I got this peekaboo feeling when I look at it. But it's normally I don't do much street photography, but I'm intrigued by this kind of shots that I'm looking for then.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, we'll go through a couple more images, and then now let's do this image, and then we will go through some questions. Okay. Now, where is this taken? Firstly,
well, this is taken in Sweden last year, and I have a former colleague that runs a restaurant there, and he invited me to come over for some photography in the middle of January. So it was extremely cold, a lot of snow, and this was a nice moment because my friend that I was traveling with, he had a lot of planning in front. So he looked at the internet, and we have to go there and we have to go there, but we didn't expect. We didn't know what to expect when we were entering Sweden, and after the first 2 hours, we already knew, okay, everything that he looked up online was never going to happen because all the main road was being shoved with cleared from snow,
right?
But all the side roads were closed, so we had not that much playing area to go around with. And then we were sitting in the restaurant, and my friend who lived there, he said, well, there's I think you can access a little parking lot here next to the lake. Maybe that's interesting. So we drove over there, and we stood there and eventually took this image. And my friend was like, okay, let's go on. We have to find something else. And it was about an hour before sunset, I think. And I said to him, well, there's no need on going out again, because the chances that we are going to find something better than what we're looking at are really, really slow. So I think the only thing we can do is hope that something is going to happen here. And eventually he wasn't agreeing, but I had the car keys, so that we couldn't go anywhere without me.
How long did you wait between this shot?
I think we stood there for about 20 to 25 minutes eventually before the next shot happens.
Okay. So guys, we want to show you the before and the after. Okay. So imagine that you're here. This is the light that you're seeing. This is the images that you're seeing. You wait a little bit longer, and this happens. Yeah, now this is completely and utterly. It's a different shot, isn't it? It's lovely.
yeah, there was while we were standing there, this snowstorm just passed us, and from the moment that we could feel the snowstorm, we could see the snowstorm in front of us, and then we could just feel a little bit of light coming from behind us, hitting all that snow. And
Beautiful.
I looked at Walter, and he said, "Well, you have a golden dick, you know." I don't know what it is, but and he was like, "Okay, for the whole week, I'm gonna listen to you." So it's yeah, I don't know what it is, but I see a lot of times in the comments on YouTube that I have a lot of luck, you know, and I always say that in photography, somehow you can create your own luck by just going out there and experiencing what is happening. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And to be honest, if this shot wouldn't have happened, I would have been just as happy with the last shot. But yeah, this is just one of those, that you only come across like 1 in 10,000 shots is
yeah, and it is
this,
that
like
thing
this.
where, yeah, I mean, this is not a filter, this is not done in post, this is literally just weather changing and you staying for that extra bit of time. You know, people saying, how did you make it look so misty? But it isn't that. It's not about making it look misty. The mist is there, it's atmosphere, which I love. Okay, let's have a quick look at some questions and some things. David has said to me, Claire, got my 50 to 200, which is amazing. And Jerry has said, I've always found your work inspirational and love your new book and calendar. We will talk about that in a minute. Just a quick question from Nancy. Nancy asks, what is your post-processing philosophy? As in, how much do you process? You know, is it a couple of % of the image, or, you know, do you spend hours in post?
No, I've made a couple of videos on my YouTube channel where I show how I edit my photos, and I make videos sometimes where people can send their images. But usually I take about 1 to 2 minutes on one image maximum. And if it's more, then it's not a good image in the end. If I have to do too much on it, and of course, if you have a focus stack where you have a bracket with multiple shots, that takes a little bit longer, or sticking a panorama together. But a shot like this, which is just one shot, it would normally take me about maybe 2 to 3 minutes maximum. And I sometimes get messages, especially on Instagram. I get accused by if you post AI images or something like that, you have to put it underneath the image. And that's the fun thing of the YouTube channel. I have this like proof that the situation was like this. So I just send my YouTube channel back, and then I'll say, look at the video. And then everyone always replies like, okay, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But that's a nice thing about YouTube. I have this sort of backdrop that people can see what is going on, and I try to explain what my thought process is at that moment and how I captured the image like I did.
Yeah. And again, what lens, what lens and settings are you? Pretty much the same as before. FA.
Well, I think this is shot with the 40 to 150 2.8.
Nice.
And I also used the 150 to 400 there, but it was just a little bit too close for that island. So in the middle of this snowstorm, I quickly switched lenses, and probably not the smartest thing to do. But if you keep the camera down, usually it's quite okay to do that.
Yeah.
But I just knew I need a wider angle than that 150 to get this shot, and I think I used like f8 again for this shot. But nice. I did keep the shutter speed up a little bit, because if it takes too long, then those drizzles of snow are going to make a blurry image, and I just try to freeze them a bit in the frame.
Yes. So you need a faster shutter speed to freeze everything and keep it sharp. Absolutely, especially in this misty weather. Okay. We're going to have a look at these two, and I love this. Now, normally I don't get to see the images before, but in these instances, when I am solo doing the YouTube stuff, I do get to see them before. When I first saw this image, I was like, this is a great image. It's a nice image. But it's only when you see the second image that you go, oh. So, guys, have a look at this image. Where are you, Guido, taking this? What was your thoughts here?
Well, this was when I was in Austria, and I went to a pretty dark period in front of this. I talk about that in my book a lot, but we just needed a break with my family, and so we booked a last-minute trip to Austria, no preparation or anything. And we took a walk there with my family and my in-laws. Is that in-laws? Is that the right word?
Yeah,
Parents,
in-laws,
in-law.
yes.
Yeah, they were joining us also, and we took a little walk there. And at one point, I noticed this waterfall, and they just kept the trail, and I just worked this waterfall scene for like 30 minutes or 35 minutes, and I just couldn't find anything that was interesting. And of course, this looks quite okay, but it felt a little bit boring. You know, I had a bit of an image in my mind
Been done before, yeah.
like
Been done
rocks
before.
from pretty close up, but I just couldn't get to that position. And so at one point, my family returned and they walked to the bottom of the waterfall. And
Are we ready?
that is
I
this
mean,
shot.
it really
So,
does. I mean, it really does make the image. I mean, I would have spent hours, like you say, trying to avoid people in the image, and people I'd have been waiting for them to move out of the way. But what you've done is you've incorporated them into the image, and it actually really does make
and
this image better, for sure.
the funny thing was that at first I was standing next to them, and my youngest son with his grandma was in a stroller at the other side of the path that I'm walking on now. And he started crying. So I said to my wife, well, I'll walk over there. So I walked that lane back to my other son. And halfway through, I just looked around and I was like, oh, let him cry. I'm going to take the shot. So I quickly got the camera and just captured this. And it's just one of, I think this is my favorite image ever, just because of the moment that, how I felt at that moment. I just felt so bad. And then capturing exactly that, my family at this image, it was something else. So
got a lot of love for this shot. Lots of love. Ricardo asks again, what camera? So it will be an OM1, Mark 1 or Mark 2?
I think this is with the, I have to think about that actually. I think this is shot with an EM1X. So this is, nice. I think 3 years ago, or 3.5 years ago, something like that. Yeah.
Nice. And tripod or no tripod?
No, this is all handheld. So it's for the 40 to 150, I think 2.8.
Yeah.
Or the 12 to 40 2.8. I'm not quite sure anymore. But one of these two lenses, and just try to zoom in a little bit to get it. And it's just, people always ask me, do you crop a lot? No, with a Micro Four Thirds camera, you don't have to crop. You know, what you see is what you get. And
the lenses get you nearer, right?
Yeah, the lens gets me nearer. So I spent a little bit more time on composing. And in this case, I just didn't have the time. So it was a bit of luck also. You know, all those times going out paid off. Like, you know exactly what to do at that moment and which button to press at that moment. And that resulted in this.
Yeah, I love it. Just a quick question before we move on. Do you shoot in manual, or are you shutter priority, aperture priority? People would like to know.
I used to shoot everything in aperture priority, and also this image, it was all aperture priority until about a year ago. And since then, I'm using manual only. And I just noticed that when I put everything in manual, I do pay more attention to what is going on in the scene, and I can put it a little bit more to my own controls.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, because when you're in manual, you are in control, and you have to do your checks, right? It's so easy to leave stuff in semi-auto and just assume everything is doing what it's doing. But yeah, absolutely.
Now, what I used to do when I was in aperture priority, I used to do the exposure compensation to make an image a little bit brighter or a little bit darker. And what I eventually noticed is, by doing that, I didn't pay any attention anymore to my other settings. I just scrolled that wheel and that was it. And right now I'm much more conscious in, okay, what happens if I raise the ISO, or what happens if I, I think it's become much clearer. And at the first month I was struggling a little bit, but right now I'm shooting birds in manual, and so it's just getting how do you say that? Getting used to doing it. Yeah, you get used to it eventually.
For sure. So you have your fan covered tonight. You've got, I said, Guido's not only an amazing photographer, he is a top bloke. Learned a lot from him during photography weekend, where I had the privilege to meet him in real life. Okay.
Thank you.
This is beautiful. I love this image. Where's this taken?
This is in the south of France, also on a family holiday, and I was just taking a hike there next to the shore. This is somewhere between Fréjus and Cannes. You have this rocky coastline with all those red rocks, and at one point I just stood like 60 or 70 meters higher up a hill, and I was taking a shot, and I just looked down the slope, and I saw this little tree on that edge, and I was like, oh, that is the foreground that I need. So there was not much light left. So I just rushed down this hill. There was no path or anything. So it was quite sketchy going down there. And eventually I found this angle, but the how do you say that? The space that I'm sitting in, there's just absolutely no space. If I move a centimeter more back, then I would fall down this rock. So this is with the 7-14. And then at 7 millimeter, and I really had to sit with my legs completely wide to avoid my feet getting into the shot. But I think
it's so wide, isn't it?
It's if this is the floor, I think the camera was like this. And that's a nice trick also. If you turn the camera down, those rocks in the foreground, they get really distorted. So this leading line that you're seeing right now wasn't there in reality, but just by scratching them out by turning the camera down, it created this line towards that tree that I really liked. So
I love it.
And I used the live ND filter here because the 714 can't take any filters on it, but I wanted that water to be very smooth. So the first shot, it was all ripply and it didn't look as static. So I quickly turned on the live ND and then took this, I think it's a 20-second exposure or something like that. And what's also nice to see in this image is the depth of field of a Micro Four Thirds camera, because this is not focus stack. This is just one shot and it's in focus from just a couple of centimeters in front of me until that castle on the island, like maybe 200, 300 meters away. And this is, I think this is F11, F12 or something like that.
So how long what's the slowest shutter speed you hand hold before you go to a tripod?
Well, that's people see me a lot with tripods in my videos. But that's also because I try to record what I'm doing, and holding a camera and holding a video camera.
You're not using it for photography. You're using it for the video.
And usually I put the camera on the tripod just to show people the back of the screen, like what I'm doing, what am I thinking about. But I think up until a second, you don't even need a tripod. And maybe if you look at that shot from Tuscany, there were a couple of shots in there with a half a second shutter speed on high res mode, so the camera takes like 7 or 8 images, and it still worked. So it feels a bit weird to take such long images, but in the end, if you have a bit of a steady hand with a stabilized lens, then it really doesn't matter.
Right. And we have the best image stabilization, full stop, right?
It is.
Michael says, where would you focus on a shot like this?
In this case, I focused on the bottom of the tree. So I always try to focus like a third into the image. And people always ask me on workshops, how do you calculate that distance? Well, I think it's very simple. I don't. We live in the digital era now. And if I have my doubts, I'll just take another shot with the focus point a little bit in front, or take one with the focus point a little bit more to the back. And usually there's always one shot that works, but eventually you will discover that if you photograph at a certain aperture, like f8 or to f11, and then on a shot like this, just 1/3 into the frame and everything is in focus.
Okay, I'm just going to quickly answer Sheila's question. Sheila, Live ND is a brand new innovation that OM System put on the last few cameras. It is basically an ND filter in your camera, so you don't have to put them on the outside of the lens. It means that you can shoot handheld, longer exposures, because you've got it in camera and you can do 30th of a second or 10th of a second, sometimes even slower, but it means it's built in. If you, depending on the camera you have, it will be in the computational menu. Check it out. There are also some videos are on YouTube just about live ND. We won the Amateur Photographer magazine and website. We won the innovation for that because it's a fantastic thing, and it's an amazing thing. So definitely have a look at what live ND is. We're going to jump in.
Claire, there's another.
You love your miss. Now, I just want to go to a comment that someone made earlier about your nickname being the man of the fog.
Yeah,
that's. I was reading some comments, and someone said, "Hey, this known as man of the fog." So, is the fog and the mist your favorite thing?
Well, yes. It makes a lot of my images, and I try to whenever there's an indication for fog, I just say to my wife in the evening, "Can you take the kids to school?" And I'm off. So I always try to use these days because it's just it creates a certain atmosphere that I like in my images. And I hear a lot of people, I never get conditions like this, and then you ask, well, when do you do photography? Yeah, always at sunset, but conditions like this are always at sunrise. I rarely see some fog like this at sunset. So that's why I am a morning person. So I have 2 small kids. So if I'm at 4 a.m., they usually sometimes they come along with me because they're already awake. So I love mornings like this, and the quiet and the peace and quiet at a morning like that is fantastic.
Yeah. So just as a question, because a couple of people have asked it in here, and I'll rephrase it for my own experience. Sometimes when I go out and do foggy pictures, the fog doesn't look as intense on the camera as it does with my eyes. Like with my eyes, I'm like, oh, amazing, look at that fog. And then when I take some images, I'm like, oh, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do to change my settings to make that fog more foggy?
Well, the one thing I do is I always try to overexpose them a little bit. Well, I don't overexpose, but I expose to the right side of the histogram. I just avoid that the highlights are clipping, because if you're clipping the highlights, then this fog gets completely white, and that gets ugly. But if you're exposing it a little bit to the right, and then you just, in this case, I think I would use a radial gradient in Lightroom, and just darken everything around that fog just a little bit, to leave that fog, or just brush over the fog to expose it a little bit brighter, and that usually brings it out a little bit more in the image.
Okay, love it, thank you. Okay, we've only got 13 minutes left, so let's talk now. This is really, I love these images. I'll shut up. You take over.
This is actually the same image as you're looking at in the last image. So these are the same trees. If you can go back one shot, just on the right side. I'm using my mouse, but you can't see that, of course. But the only thing that I changed here is I switched from a 40 to 150 lens to the 100 to 400, and by zooming in to that area, the camera starts adapting to the colors, so it's only seeing those golden colors at that moment. And so I'm basically standing on the same spot with maybe 30-40 seconds in between, and a different lens, and the camera catches a whole different atmosphere than before. And I use this trick a lot of times, just by zooming into my subjects and leaving everything else out. The camera just boosts that golden light, that golden atmosphere. And I absolutely love it. And before people start asking, I always shoot in auto white balance, so I never change the white balance. So I can just see this happening in the back of the screen. And sometimes I just turn it a little bit in processing, but this is almost exactly as I took the image. It's a little panel, by the way.
I mean, and so this is where we jump into the whole point about having a zoom lens for landscape photography. And we have spoken about this before. It is such an integral part of a kit that you take out with you. You know, when you go on landscape, you're always taking the wides, always going for the wider shot because you want the thing. But actually, landscape isn't always about wides and horizons. It can also be about that zooming in, taking that perspective. And so then we go on to basically what I wanted to tell everybody about tonight is that in the UK and Europe at the moment, and you led it in perfectly, we have a promotion about telephoto lenses, and it's about those tele zooms. Check out, I put the promotion link in the shop, but there's lots of cashbacks. Now in the States it does work a little bit differently. You get more instant saves, whereas for instance the 150 to 400, that's you've got cashbacks on the OM1, £300 cashback, get a free grip. There's a cashback on the 300mm, on the 40 to 150. So check out the cashbacks because, as I said, they're on the promotion site, which I popped in. Because, as I said, when we talk about landscape, go back to you, Guido. When we talk about landscape, it is sometimes about pulling the images or the focus nearer to you, and not worrying so much about that wide angle, right?
Well, everyone has a different taste, of course, and a different approach to it. But
Yes.
For me, the most important thing is I like an image with a certain story or a certain atmosphere, and I noticed myself that I can catch that mood that I'm searching for much easier with a telephoto lens. In a country like the Netherlands, it's as flat as can be here in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
But for example, if I would live in Scotland and you have a lot of mountains, then I might make a lot more wide-angle shots. But for the area that I'm living in, this is a magnificent tool to. And for me, it always feels a bit like extending my photography trip. And the moment I took this shot, there were like 50 people, 30, 40, 50 people next to me. You can see that in the YouTube video. And everyone starting with this wide-angle lens, but it was a clear blue sky, and like someone said, we struggled with sunrise. I struggled with sunrise, and there was a really bad shot. And I heard everyone complaining, and everyone packed up their gear and they left. And I just looked at that little piece of fog in that valley, and I thought, well, there has to be a shot in here. And I just decided to wait until the sun came over that little hill in the back, lighting up that little fog. But by the time I took this shot, I was standing there all by myself. So I looked on the back of the camera, and then I looked around me, and I was like, where's everyone? Am I the only one seeing this? So yeah, and that's what I love, because if I would only take a wide angle, then I would never capture a shot like this. And I got a couple of images in Tuscany last year of a little tree at 400 millimeters. So that's like 800 millimeter full frame equivalent. And then there are like other photographers next to me looking on my screen, and they said, where's that tree? And I was like, well, it's there in the distance. And like, I can never reach that. And then there are no landscape photographers walking around with an 800 millimeter lens. So it gives me a unique perspective that only Micro Four Thirds users can benefit from.
Yeah. Okay. Right. We have 8 minutes. So let's trundle through a couple of more images. Love this. Tell me what you are doing when you're metering, because a couple of people have asked in the comments, do you just go all metering and let it take care of itself? Do you go spot metering, highlight, shadows? What's your, or does it depend on the settings?
The metering, I always use the center or weighted metering, and I never change it. So I never need to change it. And I just try to, in a case like this, the most thing I'm careful was with a shot like this is not to overexpose anything, which is really, really difficult. So, and if you expose it too dark, then it gets a little bit gray. So if it's a snowy, foggy scene like this, you want to expose it very bright to get this really white, fresh, snowy feeling. But yeah, you always have to be careful not to overexpose it. So that's why on every shot that I take, I just look at that histogram and just avoid getting it into the overexposed areas.
Okay. Okay, you keep going. I'm just going to do some bits because we've got some people saying some stuff in the
I noticed a question from someone what I use for denoise. I only use the Lightroom denoise, so I never use something else. Okay. And there was another woman asking just a minute ago that she read online that there were some problems with photographing birds with a OM system camera Well, I totally disagree. So
Yeah,
I
great.
do photograph birds even in flight. And if you want to see some bird material, just look at Alexander Koenders in the Netherlands or Aspen Helland in the UK. Fantastic bird photography, and I think no one has ever had a problem with that as far as that I know. So it's just a fantastic camera for that.
Okay. Whoever needed the US link for hang on a minute, it's not that one. Just bear with me a moment. Oh, let me just go onto the promotions page. Control C. So I'm just popping in the US promotions page as well, so you can see the differences between instant save and cashback, just to help. Let's go through a couple of comments. Lovely to see you, Frank Fisher. Wonderful for you to join us. I saw your comment earlier, but he says, good to see you and your images, Frank from Hamburg. How wonderful for you to join us. I love that.
There's a question from Sheila. I see that on the right side now.
Yeah, let's just keep one sec. We'll just go through a few first because I've starred a few.
Okay.
Henk says, I'm a Dutchman living in Sri Lanka. Hello, lovely for you
nice.
to join us. Hey. Sri Lanka must be a great place for landscape photography. So this one from Sheila says, I'm having trouble getting my lens to focus. Is there a trick I should be using? Couple of things. Make sure that the front clutch on the lens isn't in the manual focus position, Sheila. It depends on the lens. If you're using a 300 or a 40-150 or many others, there is a clutch on the front, and you want to make sure that's in the front forward position, not in the back position, because it could be that literally you've just got it in manual focus. And as I said, we have that old-fashioned lovely way of hand doing it.
And what also works in a scene like this, just focus on the contrasty parts. So if you're out of focusing in a scene like this, just make sure that you're focusing on those black sides of the tree, and that usually does the trick for out of focusing.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, this is really lovely from F Quill. Fabulous photography. Thank you for this treat. Your OM knowledge and tips are great. Learn 2 new things that they're going to try today. Okay, let's crack on. We've only got a few more minutes. Let's talk about this image.
Yeah, this is one of those another mornings where I just used a large telephoto to keep that horizon out of the screen. And you can see that in the back, there's this really large tree line. And I always search for those things that I'm looking towards the sun with a large tree line in front. So once the sun gets over it, I can get the horizon out of my image, and I can get this golden light atmosphere image. And in this case, I was standing there and I could see those geese swimming in from the left, and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna position this. So I positioned the composition, and I just hoped that they would swim through my frame. And then when that happens, you're just standing there like
I love it.
like as happy as can be, you know.
The one thing I will take for sure is, like, don't always have the horizon in the image. It's just such because, like you say, everything changes. Now, I wanted to get to this image as our last image to talk about, all right? Okay. Because even though there are a couple more images in the presentation, I knew this would stir up some conversation. I love this image. Let's talk about it and why this image works with landscape, because it's quite unconventional.
This is a real fun image because this is a double exposure, and I took this last year during a workshop. And if you show the next image,
I'm good. I don't want to show it to him because I just think this is very paint. Think of artists. You would not. I'm going to show it to them. There you go. Yeah. So that is the base image.
This is the base image, and during in the afternoon, next to a river, I noticed these patterns, and I took this image. And then, like 2 or 3 hours later, I was walking in an open area, and the people of this workshop, they asked me, "Can you tell us something about double exposure?" So I just said, "Well, you can." I showed it on the camera. You can open a image, and you can recall something that you caught earlier. And so I recalled this image that I shot earlier that day, and I just pointed it towards those trees that were standing there in the open area, and I pushed the shutter, and everyone was looking at the back of the screen, and they were like, how do you come up with something like that? And I was like, hey, I didn't. You asked me to take this picture. So it was just, it happened instantly. So if they wouldn't have asked, I would have just walked straight by it. And I got so many comments on this image and emails that it looked like a Van Gogh painting. And I kind of see where it goes. But this was just created in an instant during a workshop. So on any other day, I would have walked straight past it. But it's really fun to work with these double exposures to create really abstract images like this.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love it. I mean, it's really interesting because we will go over it. Richard, I will jump in the comments. So basically, with double exposure, what I love about multiple exposure is there will never be two images the same. You have created something that nobody else will ever create. And in a world of copying, in a world of most things being photographed and trying to get a different look at something, or, you know, trying to photograph something that's been photographed a million times but do it differently, is a much more of a challenge, right? Excuse me. But multiple exposure, I'm just going to take a drink, excuse me, is a really fascinating subject. And we are going to do a YouTube live on it in the next, in the next couple of months. But it's really fun. And you can shoot your images in RAW. So if you shoot RAW, and then you put your multiple exposure on the camera, if you use overlay, will look at your SD card, at any raw images, and say, would you like to choose one of these? You can pick one. That's then your base image, and then you can shoot on the top, which is what overlay is. But we definitely need to do a whole session anyway.
If you're doing multiple exposures like this, what usually works best if the first image is a bit abstract. And as the base image has to be a bit of an abstract shot, and then put something over that image. Absolutely. If you do it the other way around, it usually doesn't give that nice of an effect as this does.
Yes, which is why I always think, like, if you're out shooting landscapes and then you go and do street photography, take a card that you've loaded a load of landscapes onto, because then when you're in the city of London, you could put this incredible street in the middle of landscape. And I do a lot of that. I love it. And there's never an image the same. I love it. It's so much fun. Right. Wow. Didn't that hour go quickly?
Yeah.
It always flies by. Guys, please make sure you let's talk about the book. Let's take a minute to talk about the book. You've got this amazing book out, haven't you? I mean, this is not your first book, right?
This is my first book, so I've never made a book, and a lot of images that you're seeing right now, not all of them, are in this book, but it's called Out of the Darkness, and like I just said earlier, I went through a bit of a dark period myself with mental issues and health issues, and I just wanted to capture that period in this book. So it actually starts in my younger years, how my interest in photography came out, and it shows.
I love it. And is it available available in the usual bookstores and things like that?
They can order it through my website. In the Netherlands, it's in a couple of bookstores. And what I did, every image comes with a story. So, and the settings of the image are within every picture. But every image comes with its story, how I captured it, and there are QR codes in the back, so you can see the videos of the images. And as a red line through the image or through the book is a bit of my story, like how how the mental issues got me rock bottom, and then how picking up the camera got me back on my feet, and the whole thought process about that. So it's I sold a couple of books to a bookstore here in the Netherlands, and after a week, the guy sent me an email and he said, well, I've put the whole pile at the photography part, but I've now placed half of it at the psychology part. So it serves two purposes. So, and that's the whole reason why I wanted to make this book. I wanted to share my story that people would get inspired by it, and in two ways. So it's written in English, and it's for sale with worldwide shipping through my web shop.
Well, I mean, it's so fantastic that photography has enabled you to come back from that. And it is such a creative art. I know there's a lot of technical stuff to learn, but we can spend hours just so good for the mindfulness, but also being out in nature and being out in the fresh air and the countryside is so important. And lots of people said your book is amazing, and they're really pleased that you're all good now. That is amazing. So we love that.
Yeah, thank you all for your support. It's really appreciated. Yeah.
Now, guys, I forgot to do the poll. You're supposed to do the poll at the beginning. I forgot. If you could just jump in and quickly answer that for me. Just quickly just answer it. Go on, go in quickly answer the poll. And then you will make my life very happy. But I would like to say, and please can you join me in saying thank you to Guido for joining us for this session. It always flows by quickly. I'm always thinking I should add an extra half an hour on. Guido, thank you very much for sharing your images. Thank you very much for sharing your beautiful stories. And guys, talk about that telephoto promotion. There's lots of images that prove that wide angles aren't just about it. So take a look at that.
Can you share my website link underneath? People are asking where they can buy the book, but I can't send a link in my comment section.
Yeah, so. I can do. If you pop it in the private chat, and then I can cut and paste it. If you do that quickly. So guys, yes, thank you for all of that. Wonderful for you to all join us. As I said, while Guido is typing that in we have a little private chat. You can say thank you, and I can do a bit of housework. Don't forget the 50 to 200 first look events are still in play, so you can still go out there, you can still talk to people. I am now going to post the website link into the chat. But come and join us, come and see us at Kendal Mountain Festival. Guido will be there. You're going to see him live. He's giving a talk on the Sunday. There is a link in our events page. You would then go through to Kendal Festival and pay there. We don't host it. We're just being part of the team there. So come along and see us. And hopefully you get to meet Guido, and Danny's coming as well. And it's going to be amazing. But lots of things coming up. Please check out the events page. There's lots of we're just sort of coming out of macro season, but still in macro season, if you know what I mean. But as I said, it's really lovely to see you all. Thank you, Guido, for joining me. And
thank you for having me, and thank you all for your comments and your time. Fantastic to see how much response there is on the video.
It's wonderful, guys. Love you all, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.